Hello everyone, welcome to the channel of trigonometry. I am Mr. X. Today is July 16th. So we have a lot of things going on today. This morning we have the PPI number came out better than expected, month over month at 0%. Both the baseline PPI and the core PPI at 0%, better than expected 0.2%. The year over year at 2.6% of versus 2.7%, 2.3% versus 2.5%, better than expected. And all the other numbers are okay, not very important. And tomorrow we're gonna have the retail sales number and the initial jobless claim, the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, and the Philly Fed Business Condition, CapEx, employment, new order, price paid, etc. So we have quite a few data points tomorrow. And then on Friday, we have the Michigan consumer sentiment and 5-year inflation expectations and the consumer expectation and current condition. And those are important data point as well. But it's preliminary, so less important than the final reading, but still it would be a good indicator of the overall consumer sentiment and the inflation expectation. So the actual big news today is that Trump asked GOP lawmakers if he should fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This was the main reason that the market in the middle of the day tanked like over 1% on the QQQ. So you can see here from 556 all the way to 551. It's like a full 1% dump due to this news. I think a lot of people think that Jerome Powell not lowering interest rate is not good, and if Powell gets fired and Trump appoints another Fed chair that can just lower rate dramatically, that should be bullish for the market, right? But wrong. The exact opposite happens. If you look at the TLT had an even bigger dump, like all the way from 80, 85 and a half, all the way to 84. 84. That's a very, very big dump on the treasury. So it because it doesn't move like stocks. This is a huge dump. Why do we get this huge dump? So I want to explain the rationale behind this dump. So if Trump actually if Trump fires Jerome Powell and appoints somebody who will lower the rates dramatically, that would be a big problem for inflation because we just passed a historical bill that increased our fiscal deficit by several trillion dollars. That's inflationary by itself. And then on top of that, we lower the interest rate. We lower the short-term interest rate. That's additional inflationary boost. So if that happens, the inflation expectation will skyrocket, which led to the even higher rates on the longer end of the Treasury yield. So basically, the shorter end of the Treasury yield will go lower, but the longer end of the Treasury yield will go higher. So we have an even steeper Treasury yield curve, which is bad, which is very, very bad. And this is exactly what's playing out right here. TLT is getting dumped big time. And then Trump actually came out in a press conference saying he doesn't want to fire Jerome Powell. In he wants to replace him in 8 months as the term ends. Um, and the market rallies. But I'm not sure how much credit I gave to Trump on this. And because there's another piece of news came out that they were investigating Jerome Powell because of the Fed building renovation expense was like $2.5 billion. Even though I do think that's problematic, why do you spend $2.5 billion in building renovation, right? That doesn't make any sense. But feels like they want to use that to pressure Jerome Powell to resign. If Jerome Powell resigns and Trump actually appoints one of his people to be the Fed chair, the same scenario play out exactly the same. The short-term treasury yield will go down and the longer end of the treasury yield will go up. That's bearish. That's bearish for the market. That's bearish for TLT. That's I think one of the biggest risks right now in the market. I'm holding one half of my QQQ puts still. I'm still holding half of my QQQ puts. I sold half around right around this dip, around 1139. So basically at the exact bottom, I sold half of my puts and it came all the way back. Uh, recovered all this big red candle and some more. The reason that I'm still holding half of the puts is because I don't think this dump is complete. We still have a lot of uncertainties. We still have a lot of risk regarding the upcoming economic data points for tomorrow and Friday, and we have the Netflix earnings that could trigger some sell-off as well. And I just feel like the dump is not done just yet. Even though we see the stock recovered basically everything of this dump, but TLT actually is not quite recovered, fully recovered. The dump started right around here and we recover like majority of it, but still it's still some bearishness until we break above this big red candle. I think this dump is not done just yet. And we look at IWM. IWM is also recovered this big dump. However, so yesterday I just talked about this, right? If IWM breaks below 220, 221, it will go straight to 218. And that's exactly what it did today. It went all the way to 217. And then it bounced back all the way to 221 again. Now, this becomes the resistance until they break above this 221 resistance. I think we can go lower, or at least to retest this 218 line or 217 to form some kind of double bottom. Um, because this is too short. I just like 2 days. I don't think the pullback completes in 2 days. I think we have a long way to go. It's a long earnings seasons. I think it could last 1 to 2 weeks if we actually have a pullback. But I'm still holding some of my calls, which is doing great. Tesla calls doing great today. It's kind of breaking out. Close at 321. The first time it closed above 220 in a long time, in at least like 2 weeks after this July 1st dump. So which is good. And I'm still holding Grab, which is also up today. And Oscar is up today. And Disney is up today. So everything is moving up quite nicely. So, but I'm holding my puts for hedge. Actually, I also bought another 100 contract of IWM puts to hedge the small cap moves because I saw this small cap moves it's more volatile. I basically entered the put right before the close, right at this 221 resistance. So I'm expecting this pullback to form a double bottom, or it could potentially break down. If it does break down, we could be testing 214. So that's my line. If it gets to 214, I'll close my puts. That's for IWM. And as for QQQ, if it breaks down all the way to 544, I'll close my puts. That's it. I'm hedging my portfolio until then. And that's all for today. Thank you. Please leave a comment and like this video. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.